The River Parrett flows through the counties of Dorset and Somerset in southwest England. From its source in the Thorney Mills springs in the hills around Chedington in Dorset, flowing northwest through Somerset and the Somerset Levels to its mouth at Burnham-on-Sea, into the Bridgwater Bay Nature Reserve on the Bristol Channel. The Parrett and its tributaries drain an area of 660 square miles, about 50% of Somerset's land area, with a population of 300,000. The Parrett's main tributaries include the rivers Tone, Isle, and Yo, and the River Cary via the King's Sedgemoor drain. The 37-mile-long river is tidal for 19 miles up to Oath. The fall of the river between Langport and Bridgwater is only 1 foot per mile, so it is prone to frequent flooding in winter and during high tides. Many approaches have been tried since at least the medieval period to reduce the incidence and effect of floods and to drain the surrounding fields. In Anglo-Saxon times the river formed a boundary between Wessex and Dumnonia. It later served the port of Bridgwater and enabled cargoes to be transported inland. The arrival of the railways led to a decline in commercial shipping, and the only working docks are at Dunball. Man's influence on the river has left a legacy of bridges and industrial artifacts. The Parrett, along with its connected waterways and network of drains, supports an ecosystem that includes several rare species of flora and fauna. The River Parrett Trail has been established along the banks of the river course. The River Parrett is 37 miles long, flowing roughly south to north from Dorset through Somerset. Its source is in the Thorney Mills springs in the hills around Chedington, 2.5 miles from that of the River Axe in nearby Beaminster, which runs in the opposite direction to the English Channel at Axmouth in Devon. The two rivers give the names to Parrett and Axe Parish Council. From its source, the Parrett runs north through South Parrett and under the Salisbury to Exeter railway line before passing to the west of North Parrett and Hazelbury-Plucknett. It then runs through fields between Merriott to the west and West Chinook and Chiselborough to the east, passing under the A303 road to the east of South Pedderton. The river flows between East Lambrick and Bower Hinton west of Martock and then towards Kingsbury Episcopi, through Thorney and Muchelney, passing the remains of Muchelney Abbey before entering Langport, which is about 10 miles north of Chiselborough. Below Thorney Bridge the river's banks have been raised to mitigate flooding. The Parrett then flows northwest for approximately another 10 miles to Bridgwater through the Somerset Levels past Alley, close to the Alley and Beerwoods and Alley Hill biological sites of special scientific interest. The sluice gate at the deserted medieval village of Oath marks the river's tidal limit. The river then crosses South Lake Moor. The next major landmark along the river's course is Burrow Mump, an ancient earthwork owned by the National Trust. The river then arrives in Burrow Bridge, where the old pumping station building was once a museum. Flowing north, it passes Langmead and Western Level SSSI, and on past the land drainage pumping station at Western Zoyland. Further downstream the river passes the village of Huntworth before flowing under the M5 motorway at Dunware. As it enters Bridgwater it passes under Somerset and Hamp bridges, and past Bridgwater Castle, which had a tidal moat up to 65 feet wide in places, fed by water from the river. From Bridgwater to the sea is approximately 6 miles. The King's Sedgemoor drain empties into the River Parrett next to the wharf at Dunball. It enters via a clyce, which is a local word for a sluice. The clyce has been moved about 0.3 miles downstream from its original position and now obstructs the entrance to the small harbour next to the wharf. The course of the river below Bridgwater is now somewhat straighter than in former times. The village of Cummage lies adjacent to a channel in the river known as Cummage Reach. From here the Parrett flows to the Bristol Channel past The Sturt Peninsula. Cartographic evidence indicates that in the early 18th century the peninsula was longer than at present. A neck started to form in the peninsula, and by 1802 the tip had broken off to form Sturt Island. Thenning Island also broke away but has rejoined the peninsula. Much of the peninsula's northern end eroded away and now exists as islands visible at low tide within an intertidal area of mud known as the Sturt Flats. The mouth at Burnham-on-Sea is a nature reserve where the river flows into Bridgwater Bay on the Bristol Channel. In addition to the rivers Parrett, Brew and Washford, several of the man-made drainage ditch, including the River Huntspool from the Somerset Levels, and the Cannington Brook from the Thames, also discharge into the bay. Flow and tidal bore. The Parrett has only one gauging station, at Chiselborough, fairly close to the source. It measures flow from the first 29 square miles of the drainage basin, or about 4.3% of the total. The mean flow measured by the Environment Agency at Chiselborough was 42 cubic feet per second, with a peak of 6,100 cubic feet per second on the 30th of May 1979 and a minimum of 2.5 cubic feet per second over a 7-day period in August 1976. Tributaries of the Parrett with gauging stations include the Yeo, Isle, Cary, and Tone. The lower Parrett has a fall of only 1 foot per mile between Langport and Bridgwater. To the northeast of the River Parrett's mouth, the Bristol Channel becomes the Severn Estuary, which has a tidal range of 14 meters. The rate and direction of flow of the Parrett is therefore dependent on the state of the tide on the River Severn. In common with the lower reaches of the River Severn, the Parrett experiences a tidal bore. Certain combinations of the tides funnel the rising water into a wave that travels upstream at about 6 miles per hour against the river's current. Hydrology and water quality. Near the source at Chiselborough, the typical level range for the depth of the river is 0.05 meters to 0.63 meters, but has reached a maximum of 2.93 meters. The mean flow rate is 1.196 cubic meters per second. By the time it reaches Gore Bridge, the normal level range is 0.23 meters to 0.97 meters and a highest reading of 3.84 meters. At West Quay in Bridgwater, where the river is tidal, the highest astronomical tide level is 8.63 meters above ordnance datum. For the purpose of water quality measurement, the river is divided into 5 water body areas by the Environment Agency. Both the area from the source to Broad River around Crooken and the area from Broad River to Lopen Brook are rated good for chemical quality and moderate for ecological quality. The area from Lopen Brook to the River Isle around Martock and South Pedderton is rated good for chemical quality, poor for ecological quality and poor overall. For the River Isle to River Yeo around Muchelney, chemical quality is rated good and ecology is rated moderate. The section around Langport to the west Sedgemoor drain continues to rate good for chemical quality and moderate for ecological quality, as does the final area leading to Bridgwater Bay.